What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Snobnation Morning Show Live. It's Friday. I'm Mick Manhattan. I'm your host. We're at 2 hours now. We were a 3-hour show, but I thought, I'm coming back. It's summer. Right now, I'm going to come back for 2. And there's a big reason why, and I'll reveal that later. I want to say hello to everybody who's joining in. Sturdy's here. What's up, buddy? Great morning to you, sir. My friend, Sturdy. That's what I'm calling you, my friend. That's right. Thank you for welcoming me back. It's just it's a beautiful Friday morning. I am exhausted. I'm not well. Here's the funny thing. I'm used to waking up earlier than this every day. But I don't know why today of all days. I'm just exhausted. I just didn't get much sleep last night. But I am excited to be here. I'm excited that this show is back. I do love this show. And I appreciate all of you for joining in and being a part of it and being part of the Scene Snobs. And I hope you guys are enjoying the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying the shows. Please sound off. We have good times. Sound off in the comments, sound off on our social media. Let us know what you think. Join up on our Discord or Patreon, things like that. Let us know. As I got to tell you, it's a happy Friday morning. Well, it's a happy Friday morning for some. For others, probably not. I went out and I saw The Flash last night. That's right. I did. And, it was funny because I was thinking back on it. We were talking about this movie for years. We've been talking about this movie because has been made for years. Now, I'm not going to give my review of it. I'm not going to get in depth. No spoilers here. Some of you might have noticed because I do have a lot of you who join in on the live reviews that we've been doing. And there's been sort of a shift in how we've been doing them. So I used to do them real quick. I would go and watch them as soon as I can, or if I got a screener and as soon as the embargo lifted, I would do a review. And then I started realizing that, I wanted to talk about the movie. I wanted to talk about spoilers. But the people who were watching this haven't had a chance to check out the movie yet. And actual, I don't want to say actual people. That sounds very snobbish. And that's actually not why we call it the Scene Snobs. But, it's actually supposed to be more facetious and funny. But the point being is I wanted the lives to be more conversational. I want everybody joining in. I want to talk about the movie. It's so much fun when you guys join in on these things when we're live. And man, I got to tell you, when we moved it to Monday, the Monday after the first weekend opening, tons of people watching. It's a great time. We're having a conversation about it. It's always great. So we're going to start doing that. We're just going to start having them on the Mondays after. And it's funny because I'm friends with a lot of movie reviewers, bigger than myself, of course, and much more prestigious. They go and do all these premieres and things like that. And they're awesome. They're awesome people. So what I think I want to do is I might start writing again reviews. Now I used to write reviews for different publications. And I just do it for them. But I think on the Scene Snobs website, I've been getting pushed by our lovely and wonderful site director, Destiny. She has been pushing me to start doing more writing on there and such. So, start a blog and things. So I think what I'm going to do is start a few different blogs, one of them being written reviews, and do a written non-spoiler review after I see it, and then do the live review so everybody can join in, hopefully. But I would love to hear what you guys think. Draw some more people to the website, things like that. And please, let me know what you guys think. If you'd be interested in me writing stuff up. In my heyday, I was a pretty good writer. You know, that was actually what I was going for back in the day. I wanted to be a writer. Well, I was for all it was. I wrote for a lot of publications, and I'm old enough to have written for publications in print. That's right, in print, newspapers, things like that. A couple magazines, uh, but primarily it was mostly screenplays and things like that. But yeah, so support for the WGA. So, but I got to tell you, I went and saw the movie, and now this is the type of movie. This is why I wait till the Mondays. This is the movie that, and again, not giving any spoilers away. That's not what this is about. I'm not giving any reviews on it, things like that. I want to talk about, and I don't want to talk about the controversy or anything. I talked about that on the Scene Songs podcast this week. We'll talk about that. But there's some, other aspects to it that I can kind of discuss, and I want to discuss this morning. So I went and actually, let me take a drink. I haven't had a drink of water yet. I woke up, got ready. This may be unprofessional, but screw it. At least I'm not Matt Lauer. But so we go through, and I go see The Flash, and I took my son to go see it. And that was the thing. Like, I never was not going to go see it, especially with Andy Muschietti directing. I love Andy Muschietti. He directed the It remake, which I thought he did a great job with. He did a bunch of other stuff too. He and his wife are a great filmmaking couple. They're fantastic. And when hearing Michael Keaton come back as Batman, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And the actual our Batman, R89 Batman, not some other multiverse version. Like, he is our Batman. I'm in. Let's do this. I want to see him on the big screen. I am still living. I don't get to see him again in Batgirl. I do understand now why. I fully get why they canceled Batgirl now. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not, you should put it out. People should see it. A lot of people worked on that movie. It's the same philosophy I have for why people should go see this and not put it all on Ezra Miller's shoulders. It's the same reason why they should put that out. Pass or fail. Now, if you don't want to go see this movie, if you have something against it, fine. Don't go see the movie. That's perfectly okay. But, and if it's only because of Ezra Miller, that's fine too. I'm just saying that's not why I was. That didn't hold me back. But because you have that feeling, you shouldn't be telling anybody who is going to see it, well, don't you know what he did? No. Yeah, we know what he did. Or maybe we don't. I do know what he did, but maybe somebody doesn't. Who cares? There's some kid in there. Like, my kid does no idea who this Ezra Miller is, but he knows who Barry Allen is. He knows who the Flash is. And he went in there and he had a great time. I mean, mostly because of Batman, but he did love the Flash. So it was, my point with this is, you go in there, they made this movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie. I will say that. And Sturdy, since you're watching, I would really love for you to go and spend your money and see this movie. It would mean so much to me. And this is not a prank at all. I'm not winking. This is not a prank at all. You especially should go see this movie and watch it all the way through, because it's perfect for you. What'd you say in the comments here? Mick, I am taking your advice with my Thursday shows in the near future. I had to tell you that. You're effing awesome. Oh, great, man. Awesome. Man, you guys should be paying attention to Sturdy, Harvester Sturdy. It's already awesome, but it's about to get even more awesome. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I was able to separate Ezra from the Flash for the most part. I had a decent time. All right. Yeah, me too. And I will say this, and like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, because I'm going to have, and James, I hopefully will be there, because you always add a lot of great stuff to my reviews, in the comments when you're there. So I'd love it if you were there. But I will say this one point. He's very talented. I'm sorry, they are very talented. Again, I am using their pronouns. after having a conversation with a friend of mine about pronouns and why it is important to respect other people's views with the pronouns and why they identify in that way. So again, and it's like going, I'm going to loosely connect it with what I'm saying here and this point of like, it's that freedom of like being able to do that. You know what I mean? Like being able to, like, I should be allowed to go see a movie, any movie I want, as long as it's not something that's harmful. Like if I'm not going to see a snuff film. Like if, if I'm like, hey, Friday night, 8 p.m., I'm going to this weird, dusty old theater and I'm going to watch a snuff film. Well, they were killing people in that film. That's not cool. Oh, yeah, that's different. This scenario, like where it's just like it's this huge blockbuster where a lot of people worked on it and things like that, because one person was dick. There is a dick and like a bad dick. Shouldn't hold you back from seeing it. And also doesn't mean they're not talented either. It goes back to that, like, sometimes, you get these artists who put out amazing works, but how more often than not, even based on when they were alive, they were monsters. I will tell you, there was one point where Barry Allen has to save a baby, and I'm like, keep him away from the babies. That's just me though. Just for what that I'm going to see it maybe next weekend. No, go see it this weekend because I want you to be there for my review. No, I'm kidding, sir. You do whatever you want, buddy. You don't even have to go see it. I appreciate you. But if you do, and you do, because I love you, buddy. And if you do for me, because this is a full hardened prank on you. I think you would enjoy it, but this is a full hardened prank on you because as soon as you see with the thing, I know that you'll see and be like, that son of a I am going to laugh hysterically. And so this is a prank. I'm just letting you know that now. And I realize that I'm doing a live show for however many people are going to watch this, or now or later, when it live or recorded later, and they don't understand what I'm talking about, but they will once they start watching your show and watching more of mine. So it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I gotta tell you, it was a great time for that, and to be able to go and do that. So like I started this. You have to excuse me. I don't know what's going on. I ate a lot of popcorn yesterday, and I barely ever eat popcorn. Not that I don't like it or anything. It's not my go-to snack at the theater. My go-to snack, okay, that's actually a great topic, but my go-to snack has always been pretzel bites and cheese. Love it. They don't have them at the Alamo where I go. So, but they have like pretzel, you can get a pretzel and stuff. Usually my go-to snack there is like mozzarella sticks or chips and queso or something. But my kid loves popcorn. So I was like, all right, we'll get some popcorn. Now I feel like my mouth is dry, like the next morning your mouth is just like, ugh, you ate too much popcorn. So you'll have to excuse me. I will say this though. Leading up to it, I had such a great time. And the reason being is, as you guys know, I do the show Warp Factor Fiction. It's a podcast, and we do the video with one of my sons, my oldest son. Casey and I started doing it, and then when Casey left, he took over, and it turned into like a new format show where he's discovering Star Trek, and we're talking about it as we go. So it's a rewatch show for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. We're starting from the beginning in a chronological order. We're watching the entirety of Star Trek on screen. So we just finished Enterprise, yesterday's episode that came out. Every month, a new season. We do 2 episodes a month of the show. It's on Patreon. And then we do every month is a new season. So we've been doing Enterprise since March. So there's 2 episodes in March, and it was Enterprise season 1. April season 2, 2 episodes. May season 3, 2 episodes. Then we just did season 4 I just dropped the first episode, which is the first half of the season. Next week will be the second half. And then next month will be Discovery season 1. And we'll just keep going along. But it's been turning into this nice thing because Casey's like so smart with this stuff. He's Star Trek was like, I mean, he's smart with a lot of things, but Star Trek, like, I think that's, it's so hard for me to say this because the guy's so smart. He can talk about anything. And I want to say like Star Trek is like his number one, but Star Wars is right up there too. Like it's neck and neck. This guy knows like a lot about both, but Star Trek, it means a lot to him. And so it was fun to get that. For me, it was more like, I know a lot about Star Trek as well, but I would learn a lot from Casey. But now it's funny because now I'm like, I know more. I'm the guy who knows it all. Well, I'm the guy who knows the most. And now my son's learning all of it as we watch. So it's become a different dynamic. It's become like a very different twist on the show. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I've been getting a lot of compliments on it. So thank you guys for that. So as we go, and the reason I'm talking about this, he's been getting really into it and talking about it more. And his little brother's been getting pissed. So the Snobbits have been kind of quarreling a little bit. And the young Jack Snobbit said to me, he's like, why does he get to do a show? We never get to do anything with movies. I'm so tired of it, blah, 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 which is untrue. But I said, okay, how about this? Why don't we do our, and it's based off a book I read. And it's one of my favorite books, actually. It's called The Movie Club. And it was, and I can't remember the name of the writers. The guy who wrote it, it's his story. It's about him and his son. His son was he broke up with his wife, and his son would come stay with him for the summers. Well, his son started getting into some trouble, and he started, like some tough stuff, like when he was in high school. So he came to live, he was coming to live with his father for summer because the mother was just like, he's getting into trouble, he's getting into fights, things like that. He needs to stay with you. So he started a movie club with his son. And what he would do is he was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a different movie every week. And we're going to go through and we're going to have talks about it. And we're going to, we're going to do that. And that's how we're going to connect. And they wouldn't. For years, they did that. And that's how his son, like, kind of came around. It reinforced their bond. And, like, he talks about it all in the book. And it's a very fun read. It's very nice. It's very sweet. And I read this years ago. And I always loved this since before I had kids and stuff. So, like, when I had kids, I was like, I want to do that. That's how I want to connect. And like doing this, I get to connect with so many people doing this. Movies and TV are such a great way to do that, that I connect with all of you, and I'm like, I want to connect with my sons too, so, and they want to as well. So I told them, I was like, why don't we have our own like Snobs movie club, or, like Snobbits movie club. So, and James, my books, like we moved into this house last September, and my stuff is always the last stuff to get unpacked. Like because I unpack the important stuff, like the equipment, stuff like that. So my books are still packed up because like once I've read them, except my Stephen King novels. My Stephen King novels are properly displayed on the shelf, but and a couple others. But I will find it, and you check it out. It's a quick read too, because it's not a long book, but it's a very nice read. It's and especially for movie fans, and it's a really good story about the relationship between father and son and their connection through movies. So I just, it always resonated with me because I didn't have a good connection with my dad. My dad and I, and this is, it brings this up because like my father and I, we still don't talk. I don't hate him. I don't like him. He doesn't like me. We don't talk. We don't have a relationship. He was pretty cruel when I was young, and then I left. So it was just kind of like, whatever. my point in that is one thing I can always remember as a kid where we did connect, and I think it was the only reason I think it was the only way he knew how to connect with me. And granted, it was only a handful of times, was movies. He loved movies too. Nothing new. He only loved the old classics. But I loved all movies. Like so the old classics were in there too. So my love of the old classics comes from watching them while he was watching them. Anything, John Ford movies, the old Howard Hawks movies, just you name it back in the day, it came from that. Any old war movie, Western, things like that. So that was our connection, but there was no talking with it. It wasn't like we had this great conversation afterwards or anything. It was just that was that connection. And sometimes he would point out certain things about it. So like that, I saw a connection there. So when I read the book, I was like, and getting ready to become a dad, I became a stepdad first when I got married, and I needed to connect with my stepson. And how do you do that? And I'm a geek, and I tend to like immature sort of things. So that's how you connect with a child, I guess, and so I did. So I would show them things and like being part of that. And it worked and helped. Not worked. It's not like it was a way. It was a way in, but it wasn't like a dupe or anything. It was just like that was my way to connect. That's how I knew how to. It's like how I know how to connect to you. Oh, sturdy, don't worry about it. Is what it is. I'm fine. I appreciate you saying that though. Thank you. But my point with it is, and the reason I'm talking about this is also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I do think it is important to kind of elaborate on things like this and stuff like that. So as I and correlate how this all kind of comes about. So hopefully you guys understand that. And of course, I think you do. You're smarter than I am. So when it got to that point and remembering this book, I always wanted to do a movie club, but the young snob, it's only 6. So I was like, how do you do a movie club? Not that there aren't movies you can watch. Of course there are. We watch them all the time. But like, how do you do it? How does this play out? What can he watch? And I've had this, Sturdy can attest to this because I've had this discussion with him before. There's stuff he shouldn't watch now. And I learned that through the older snob at Tommy. I went like I think too hard and too fast with him with showing him stuff because he got into horror movies, and then I'm like, all right, let's watch this, let's watch this, let's watch this, and like I didn't go too hard. It's not like I'm like, hey, let's watch Evil Dead. Like he's still a child. So as we're coming up, I might have shown him a few things, and he was just kind of like got a little turned off by horror because he's like 5 or 6, and there's some things I'm showing him, and they're a little spooky. Again, I'm not showing him The Exorcist, things like that at that age. But it showed me there's certain movies you shouldn't show the young child. You should show them at different ages. Because now he's 11, and I show him movies that I was like, oh, maybe I could show him this. I think he'd like it. And I show him now at 11, and it's like he appreciates them. He loves it. And then I look at Jack, and I'm like, he's 6, and I'm like, yeah, you can't watch that. You're not going to appreciate that. But when you're 11 or you're 12 or something like that, you'll appreciate that. So I think there's certain ages you need to show your kids certain movies or TV shows, things like that. But I'm going to stick with movies on this one. Certain movies, so they can have an appreciation or understanding, because as they grow, they're going to have an understanding of the world. And it's funny because it's just like you want them to have that appreciation. You also want them to learn certain lessons at certain ages. So it gets into that point. And my point with that was with Jack, I was like, all right, you're 6. His brother goes away for 8 weeks during the summer to go visit his dad. We'll go live with his dad, go stay with his dad. So excuse me, damn popcorn drowning me out. So while he's there, I told Jack, I was like, okay, I know you're having a tough time because he's essentially, while Tommy's gone, by himself, and it's we try to show him a lot of attention, trying so that way he doesn't feel like he's left out. It's crazy because the block we live on, pretty much all the kids are around his older brother's age. And he gets to hang out with them, but not really when his older brother's not there. So it's tough. Now, all the kids are really friendly with him when they see him, but they'll go ride their bikes and go to the park and stuff like that. He can't do that. Not at this age. So the movie club has been helping. That and Gravity Falls for some reason. He's into that show so big. So I get we're watching what was it? We went and saw Rise of the Beasts. The new Transformers. That was our first movie. Our first foray into the movie club. Man, did he love it. I had a good time with it too. I really liked it. He loved it. He was so into it. So I'm like, all right, the next day I'll show him the Transformers movie from 1986, the cartoon. In love with it. As soon as it's over, upstairs, he's pulling out all his Transformers toys and just playing with them. Going crazy. I don't think I saw him playing, because they have a good amount of toys, and I don't think I've seen him play with Transformers in like maybe a month or so. So like now he's like all into them and such. So I was like, cool, that's awesome. But I'm like, all right, we're going to see The Flash on Thursday. How do I gear up for this? So I showed him Batman and Batman Returns. I was like, I want him to know Mike Keaton. And now, yeah, they're a little darker, but I think that's the level. That's where you test. At 5, 6 years old, that's how you test horror or thriller or suspense with kids. You movies like that, because there's certain things like Ghostbusters, stuff like that. You test it at that age, and then pepper it as they get older. Right, what's the next step? And then when he's like 7, 8, 9, Tremors, things like that. And then you kind of go up from there. So we watched. Although this kid's so into horror, I think he got my brain in that sense, or whatever that was. But like, he is so into horror. All he wants to do is watch horror. And I was like, you got to slow down. So, we watched first Batman. He loved it. But then we watched Batman Returns, and he lost his shit. Which, again, keep in mind he's 6. When she comes back after getting thrown out the window, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Selena Kyle, when she gets thrown out the window and left for dead, and the cats lick her alive or whatever. Hey, Tim Burton, how are we going to get Catwoman to become Catwoman? She's going to be a burglar? No, cats are going to lick her alive after she gets killed. She's just going to become a cat woman. I don't know. Some of it's ridiculous. So she goes in, and so like she goes in, and she's like tearing up her apartment and such, and he's like, why is she tearing everything? Like, why is she so mean? And I was like, she's upset. She's going through it. She's just really like, she was always pushed around, and now she feels this sense of power. I was like, the cats brought her back to life, and now she feels like cat power. I swear to God, I said that sentence. I was like, she feels cat power now. So he's like, oh, okay. Well, when she got to the point where she's tearing up her dolls, her stuffed animals, in our house, he calls them lovies, but the stuffed animals, he starts wailing, he's crying. He's like, why does she hate lovies? She gonna tear them my lovies. So I'm like, no. So we had to take a break and talk about it for a few, and then we went back to the movie. But that was it. That was the only thing that scared him. I was like, that was the part? I was like, not the penguin? He was like, no, he loved the penguin. He thought the penguin was great. And in fact, he saw the Jersey Mike commercials with Danny DeVito, and he goes, that's the penguin. I was like, yes, that is. He's awesome. So we get to that, and we watched Batman Returns. He really enjoyed it. And then, but like I think he needed a break after that, so we watched Batman versus the Ninja Turtles. That was pretty fun too. And then so we go see The Flash. And I was a little worried because I wasn't sure what we were going to get from The Flash. I'm like, The Flash, no superhero really has a great life. A lot of it's dark, and he knows that. But I'm like, with The Flash, I knew they were going to touch down on his mom's murder. How much of it they were going to touch down on, I wasn't sure. And, so I was a little worried for him and stuff like that. Plus, I knew they're bringing Zod back, and Man of Steel was a darker movie. Zack Snyder's Justice League was dark. Are they going to go more that route? Because you're definitely not going to go the Joss Whedon route. So, like, which way are we going with this? And plus, Batman from '89 is dark, so it's like. So I'm like, I was a little nervous because now you're in a movie theater. At home, you're like within your safe environment. Now you're in a movie theater. It's like you're 6. Is this going to be a little scary for you? Nope. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. It's fun for kids. It's fun for adults. And it just hits on those notes. And he was in it. We get home, we get out of the car, and this kid's running around the tree in our front yard, and he's like, I'm gonna go back in time. And I'm like, it's so funny when kids just have their imagination pop out. And they're just like, oh, I'm gonna try and run as fast as I can to go back in time. Like I wish there was a switch adults could have to turn on that imagination again. Granted, like I like to think I'm sort of creative. And I'm on that sort of creative type. I know adults who are so creative. Like, it astonishes me the creativity and imagination that comes out of some of my friends. And it's so heartwarming to see sometimes. So watching that and kind of, but there's something about kids and their, I don't want to say lack of knowledge, but maybe ignorance in a way. Like maybe their young ignorance, for lack of a better term, is the best way to put it. It fuels their imagination, and I kind of wish that I had that a little bit, because it's so beautiful. It really is so much fun just to see this kid running around a tree thinking he's going to run fast enough to go back in time. It's cool. It's fun. And that's the stuff we strive for. That's what movies do. And that's why I want to do the movie club. That's what I want to see. That's the go see the Transformers, immediately run upstairs and play with your Transformers. The go see the Flash. I'm running around the tree thinking that you are going to be the Flash and you are going to go back in time. That's how fast you're going to be. That imagination, that it's a wonderfully beautiful thing. And it's a non-jaded imagination. I think that's where the disconnect comes from, being a kid. And now, again, like, don't get me wrong. I was there myself as a kid. Like, there are kids who see horrors and they're not ignorant to the fact that there's horrors in the world. But there's still, and when I say ignorance, I don't mean like you're ignorant, you don't know anything, you don't want to know anything, you just want to stick to your own little world. And it just, I don't know, it's more of a, your world is what you can see in front of you. It's not out there. So it's that sort of ignorance. You don't see it out there. It's what you can see. It's what you know. So yeah, there may be horrors in what you know now, but your imagination is so much, and I don't know the science behind it, so I'm not going to pretend I do. But like, just watching a kid's imagination, even when they and I've known a lot of kids who seen some shit, unfortunately, and I hate the fact that that's real, but but they still are able to hold on to some sort of an imagination to even escape, that even adults can't hold on to now. And I really, it's just that disconnect. Like, when you get older, like, you lose it, and I just wish you could hold on to it for something. And I really wish we stop shaming people, especially older people, who still have it. I don't know. That's just a thought on me. Let's see what people are saying. Liquor Alive, funny on so many levels. They do. They all come out of the woodworks and they liquor alive. It's so weird. Cat power. She does. She gets cat powers. Right. They kind of went the Joss Whedon route with young Barry. Yeah. All right. That's fair. Uh, but you know, I want to talk to this though, and I'm not going to give anything away. And I don't think you mean Kid Barry. I think you mean younger Barry, right? And I'll call him long hair Barry. Um, yes, but well done. I think you needed that yin and yang, because Barry Allen, that is more who Barry Allen is in the comics. That's more the type. In fact, what you see on the TV show and what you see in the movies is not really Barry Allen. Barry Allen's more like Spider-Man in the comics. So, and you know, I'm sure you know that, but like, I'm more speaking to whoever's watching and listening who doesn't know, but Barry Allen's more like jokester and has fun and things. Actually, a great representation of Barry Allen is from the Justice League TV show. From the animated show from back in the day. Michael Rosenbaum played him. He's a great like jokester, like real light, you know, stuff like that. You know, and again, I don't want to get too far into it because I'll talk about it in a review, but like I liked that aspect of it, that long-haired Barry had that, you know, so it was fun to see. Yeah, I miss that child imagination. Felt like we were in that world, right? Because you envisioned yourself in that world. You could be in that world. I'd say our adult ignorance that are on that, Mick, because kids know how to have fun and really enjoy life. But the thing is, we know how to have fun. Look what I'm doing here. Look, Stern. Look at me. Look what I'm surrounded by. I know how to have fun. But we get told early, the older we get, that this type of fun we should feel guilty about. I have a Darkwing Duck stuffed animal here. I had this when I was a kid, like a real little kid, when it was acceptable to have by standards, right? I had this as a kid. And I love Darkwing Duck. I saw this for $20. This usually goes for about $200 if you go on like Macari or eBay. Somebody was selling it on Macari for $20. I was like, yep, 100%. It's a great condition. Here, let me show it to you. Great condition. Love it. You know? And I bought it because I like to display stuff. And it brings me back to my childlike wonder. I have a point to this. I can't take another drink. My apologies. My apologies on this, everybody. It's one of those days. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I was told I have a stuffed animal. I had brothers, older brothers. I had my parents, especially my father. I had aunts, uncles, everything. Influencers in my life. That's why I hate that word, because to me, influencers are the people in your life, good or bad, who shape you the way they want you to be. So I don't want to be an influencer. Yeah, people like, I like content creator because I like to create. That's what I would like to do. I want to create. I want to give the world something. I'm hopefully entertaining people. Like influencing somebody doesn't bring value. Creating does. And yeah, I remember a good friend of mine. He did most of my tattoos and my TARDIS, you know, Star Wars and stuff like that. I remember he was tattooing somebody. And I was like, and I had called it a tattoo gun. And he was very sweet about it. He had such a way about him. He still does. He's still around. He's a great guy. And if you're ever in Virginia, you should get a tattoo by him. But Kenny is his name. He actually did our first official logo. But he said to me, I was like, yeah. So you know, I said, I forget exactly what I said, but I called it a tattoo gun. And he goes, machine. And I go, what? And he goes, it's machine. He goes, tattoo machine. I go, isn't a tattoo gun? He goes, no. He's like, guns are created to hurt people. He goes, machines are created to create, to create art, create whatever. You know, the way he put it, he put it in a much more elegant way more than I am at 8:39 on a hot summer morning in June. But the way he said it resonated with me because I was like, that makes sense. I get it. And that's his art. That's his art form where he's protecting it. Because to him, it's like, I don't want to call this a gun. And he says nothing against guns. He was a military man. He owns guns. He goes out shooting. He's just, but to him, it's like, this isn't that. I can have that. But this is my art. This is where I create. And I don't want to associate my creation with that. And I love that. And then now that's my point. So, like, when people are often talking about influencers, there's influencers in our lives all the time. There's good and there's bad. And I'm not saying that influencers shouldn't exist, but I'm not saying I don't love that word because it's become so mass. The Kardashians are influencers. Kardashians. I'm sorry. I can watch the Kardashians. I can't watch the Kardashians. The Kardashians are influencers. People like them. The ones you see, with their TV shows and their BS. They're not creating. In fact, if they are creating anything, it's turmoil. It's problems. And they want you to feel bad about yourself. So you buy their crap. So maybe you think you'll feel better, but you don't. I do. I have a Patreon. I have a merch store. I know what I have. And because I love this. I love doing it. I love creating. And if I want to continue doing it, I have to make the money to do it. And that's just how the world works. That's life. We all know this. We all go and do it. But if I'm not adding value to your lives, to anyone who wants to be a part of this, if I'm not adding the value to it, then it would never work anyway. And that's why I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to influence you to do anything. Hopefully I'm creating content that you enjoy. Hopefully I'm entertaining you. Above all else, hopefully I'm entertaining you. And that's where I kind of like my thing is. And honestly, that's why I get so offended by certain things. It's funny, some of you question and ask, and I'm going to go back to the comments just a sec, but that's why some of you asked, like, why do you get, like, because I have a temper, but like my temper comes, we used to talk about it on the show a lot. Casey always knew, because Casey would always be like, son of a bitch, like, here goes the justice. You got to get his justice. Yeah, I do have an insane sense of justice. I don't know why, but because I believe that life is not fair, but I do believe that people should be. Because life's not fair, because things are going to happen, because more often than not, people are not going to be fair. So if you are good, you should try to be, and even when somebody's not fair to you, that doesn't mean that you should stop being a fair person. That's my belief. So that's why I try to be fair. Now, I'm not always perfect. Neither are you. Nobody is. So my point is, when you're, my innate sense of justice, like, I don't get mad at people for succeeding. I get mad at people when they succeed by stealing shit. I get mad at people when they succeed by talking shit and tearing other people down. I get mad at people for showing me who they are when they're doing dastardly things and trying to pass it off as if they're altruistic and good. Yeah, I get mad. That's my problem. And so, like, and then when I have friends who will come up and start defending them because they buy into the altruistic shit, and I'm like, no, I see them for who they are. I see the devil, And it's like, well, no, they're good. No, they're not. They're not. And that's why I'm doing this way. And I'll stay on this island until they do it to you. And then you'll find out. Because no matter what, one thing I've always learned is it'll come around. And everyone fucks up. Everyone makes mistakes. And I'm not saying everyone has the right. You mess up, I don't know. You're a kid, you take $10, not a kid, but I'm talking like a teenager or something like that. Take $10 out of your mom's purse or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't know. I can't really think of anything. I don't want it. So I can't think of stealing or stuff like that. But if you mess up or something like that, it happens. You make up for it. I don't hold that against you. People make mistakes. I'm talking about people, but make up for it. And you don't have to make up for it with everybody. You have to make up for it for the people that you hurt. And that's where you're fair. You can always come back from it. I can't stand the people who are like, no, I'm this. Yeah, no, I don't know. He's crazy. He's crazy. And I try to pass it off. Like they're perfect. That's where I get mad. But to go back and tie that into those are the influencers. That's those types. Those are the people that's who they are. The content creators, the ones who really just want, they eat, breathe, live this shit. They love creating. I think for me, when I talk about that childlike imagination, and that we don't have it as kids, that's what this is. This is the imagination grown up. This is, I love this. This is my dream. Like, this is my goal. And honestly, like, I love doing this. But man, sometimes it's tough because you never know if you're going to make it. You never know if you're going to succeed. And sometimes it doesn't feel like I'm gonna. And sometimes it's like, pack it in. Let's get out of here. It's just not working, and you can't afford it. You can't do it. And how do you succeed? Because when I do see other people succeed, which again, I'm happy for it. I see it, but I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I have to tell myself, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that, is it not your time, or is it never going to be your time? And you got to kind of get to that point. And I think I'm at that point in my life right now. So, but I'm still creating. I'm still pushing right now. We'll see how it goes, and we'll get there. But until then, hopefully I'm still entertaining you. Let's get to the comments. All right. I'd say our adult ignorance on that, Mick, because kids know how to. We talked about that one. Movie club is awesome, by the way. Love the idea. Yeah, I can't wait. We're going to do Indiana Jones next week to go see the new Indiana Jones. I think it's easier for kids to tap into that imagination because that's less judgment. Yeah, absolutely, James. That's a great way to put it. We start getting judged very early, especially starts coming in your teen world, because our friends, our peers start judging us too. And that's where the shame comes in, the guilt. Because when you're at home getting judged, it sucks. But like, you can go in your room and do what you want to do that makes you happy, and nobody's around. That's what that sounds like, but you know what I mean. I meant you could write, you could, whatever. My point with this is like, but like when you're with your peers and stuff like that, we get this whole sense of like wanting popularity, wanting things like that, and such. And I get it. I'm not shaming any kid who wants that or anything, because I get it. Only thing I try to tell my kids is like, I was very fortunate in my life, and I can't believe we're gonna have to get into this. I was very fortunate in my life to have one of the greatest friends a guy could ever ask for, and have one of the greatest friendships a guy could ever ask for 25 years. And unfortunately, we know Lenny passed away, but my point being, it was funny. Somebody asked me recently, it was like, were you guys, they go, because I'm still upset about it. The guy was like closer to me than their brother. And they go, were you guys gay? And I'm like, no, it wasn't that. It was that we knew each other's traumas. We knew each other for so long. We knew each other's traumas. He saw what I went through, like with my dad, my family, and things like that. And I saw what he went through with his stepdad. I was there when his dad died. We went through all the good and the bad together. So and it didn't matter where I was, because I was the type of guy who went out in my 20s. I was like, I want I want to see the world. I didn't quite see the world, but I moved around a lot and I was all over the place. But it never mattered. I always heard from him. I always talked to him. He was always there when I needed him, and vice versa. So when it came down to it, I think it comes back to this point of, oh, excuse me. So when it came back to this point of like, I was very fortunate to have somebody who loved the same things I did, and I didn't have to feel guilty about loving those things. And so I tell them, I'm like, look for those friendships. You got to find the ones who want to share in that with you. And yeah, you're not going to love the same things all the way through your life. Maybe you'll come back around to them. Like I tell my kid, like maybe you'll come back around and maybe you'll love Pokemon cards to a point, you and your friends, and then you'll get off of them and go to girls. And maybe when you're in your 20s, 30s, or whatever, you'll come back around to it. But find the ones who do and will not shame you and are like, you know what, you want to go play Dungeons and Dragons? I'll go play it with you. Or I'll at least respect the fact that you play it and ask you about it and stuff like that. Find those friendships. Don't find the ones who are going to make fun of you if you go to play that you're so afraid that they'll make fun of you, that you become somebody different. And that's what I'm trying to teach them. And I'm hopefully in this movie club, I do have some ideas for that, because when Tommy gets back, where he's going to join up and I want to show him things too, maybe that will teach him those things, and teach these lessons as well. James says, I think it's easier for kids to tap into the imagination because there's less judgment. Yeah, we just talked about that. And yeah, judgment's a big thing. Guilt, shame. Lock her alive. Lock her alive. You should put it on a shirt. Lick her alive. Maybe I will. I'll come up with the design later. Actually, and I'm gonna let you guys, please stop by the merch store. Not asking you to buy anything. I promise. I'm not asking you to buy anything. But I do really genuinely, like, I put a lot of like time into the designs. I would love to know what you guys at least think. If you could look through the designs and just let me know what you think of them, like, it would mean a lot. Like, that's all I ask. Like, it's just a lot of fun. And if you don't understand one, like the I'm really wired or something, let me know, because I would love to. There's that came up in the podcast. We talked about that. So a lot of them are like hidden meanings. Like people who will listen to the podcast like full time, they get it. But I'm happy to like send you like video links or something like that, so that way you could see it too. But I would love to know what you guys think of some of these designs. Just let me know. But yeah, I'm not saying you have to get anything, but just let me know what you think. I love your setup. We can't let people guilt us for our passion because they lost theirs. Let's encourage it. Yep. Learned that a long time ago. Hey, George G3, I'm sorry, man. You came on a little while ago and I've been talking and haven't saw the comments. How you doing, buddy? Good to have you here. I am in agreement. We love doing our shows because we want to entertain folks, make them smile and forget the worries even for a little while. Actually, this is a good point. When I was talking about George G3, so George G3 is on the radio in Ohio now. Congratulations, by the way. I called into his show. I don't know if I was your first caller, but I was one of your first callers, I think, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to call in, try and support. And that was one of those things where I saw you guys go on the radio, and again, it wasn't a jealousy thing, it wasn't an envy thing. But it was like what I was talking about earlier, where it was like you see people succeeding and you ask yourself, like, why am I not succeeding in that way? What am I doing wrong? How do I succeed in that way? And you don't even know who to ask or how to do it. Like you kind of get in your own head a little bit. And happy for you to succeed, man. Very happy to see you guys doing it. But it was more along the lines of like you start doubting yourself. And so that's kind of like what I meant, and that's why I'm using George G3 as a thing. But yeah, no, continued success, man. And I think that's where you need it to be. I think that's okay. It's healthy in that sense to be able to not, it's okay to doubt yourself, as long as you take that doubt and you still try to work at it and you still try to, and it's okay to walk away from something too. I did walk away from the film industry, as a producer, and I was doing pretty good, but it wasn't fulfilling me. Like, I worked my ass off since I was 9 years old to work in the film industry. When I was a kid, it was more, I want to be the next director and I want to write the next script. And, Robert Rodriguez, but, well, when I was 9, it was Steven Spielberg, but you know what I mean? But when you get there and you're in it, and then I became a producer in college, I was like, I just love this. That's all I want to do, line produce, and then on to producing. And then I'm in it, and then I'm doing it, and I love it. And so many people are succeeding. Like, there's so many people I gave their first job to. And I look at them now and I'm like, they're going to win Oscars. I have no fucking doubt in my mind. They're going to win Oscars. And I'm so goddamn proud of that fact. And I'm not saying that's because of me. I'm saying because I know in myself that I was good enough to be able to look at people like that's I am famously known for not having any talent. I don't have any talents. I got nothing. Everything I have is skill. And I've built on it and I've worked on it my whole life. Like, I just never had any talent. I just worked at it. Even talking. I was an introvert. I was afraid to talk. I was always in a shell. I was the big guy who was just kind of down here, who was always torn down by my brothers who were smaller than me, who didn't like the fact that I was big. And I was so big and awkward then I got bigger than my dad. He didn't like that because he was already, didn't like me anyway. So, and I'm not dwelling on that, but it is a point to say it's what made me that, but like that way at that time. And I knew if I wanted to get into this industry, I had to try different things. Working, I got forced into acting. Like, I never wanted to be an actor. I was like, fuck that, man. Like, I don't want to be an actor. It sucks. Like, you have to talk in front of people. You have to be funny. You have to do all this. Like, I never wanted to do that. And I got forced into it. And because I will say this, and I never thought about it this way, and I still don't. I think I'm ugly. And I own that. I have been told I was ugly from birth. To the point where I truly believe it. So, but on the outside, there are people who said that, like, I am good looking, and they've used that. I understand it sounds weird, but there's a point. I promise. Stick with me. So, in high school, they would do plays. They do these different plays and stuff, and I'd never worked in the theater. Never, I was running around with my buddies and we were filming movies because we love doing that stuff. And I wanted to be a director, and I never wanted to act in them. So, I loved Kevin Smith, but I didn't want to be Silent Bob, So my art teacher was the director of the theater, and she was putting on a play her senior year. And let's just say I was a slacker. And she was like, if you want to pass my class, you're going to do this play. I was like, I don't act. I don't go on stage. I don't talk to people. I don't want to do this. I don't want this. I don't think I used the word introvert because I didn't know that word at that point, but I was like, I'm just shy. I think I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't like it. And she was like, you'll do it. She goes, if you want to pass, you'll do this. I didn't even want to go to the rehearsal, so I never did. I never went to a rehearsal, right? I went home and obsessed over the lines. I learned every single word of that script. I knew when everything happened. I knew when every beat happened. I knew when everything. And then during the tech rehearsal, which was in front of the teachers, all the teachers, so it's basically a show, that's where I learned my blocking. And they just, your color, all the X's, your color, I don't even remember what my color was. This is your color. That's where you stop and you say your lines in each scene. Okay. And I just remembered that. And that's what I did. That's all I did. And I did it. And I'm like, that was fun. That's kind of cool. I was like, and she told me afterwards, she's like, you did a really good job. It was And like, I'm not trying to be boastful, but like, it was a really good job. I did a really good job, and I had a lot of fun with doing it. And I do not recommend never going to rehearsals. I didn't go because I was so shy, and everyone who was in this play was seasoned. They had done plays before, and I was almost like terrified to do anything in front of them. I was afraid I was going to get made fun of by them. So that's why I didn't go. It wasn't a matter of like, I'm better than them, I don't want to hang out with them or anything. I was just terrified. So we did the play. I got one of my goals in high school was to get on the front page of the school paper, and I got it from this. They put my picture up, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I was like, I'm trying to get into the film industry. I was like, maybe if I try this acting thing, it will help a little bit, and maybe I can find my way in. So I did. I started acting, and I loved working in the theater. I thought that was a great time. So when I graduated, I went to college. I went to a community college and started working in a theater. I joined a theater club, and it was one of the most amazing times of my life. I still have great friends, great friendships, and things like that from there. Again, people who I've acted with, I see in movies now, I see in TV still to this day. I point them out to my kids, I point them out to my friends, and I'm like, oh, dude, I was in plays with him, I was hung out with her, and I'm still friends with them on Facebook. Like, they're awesome. You know, it's just always a great time. Now, point being, um, I got into it. That was it. Like, everything was about that. Getting in this world of filmmaking. And I did. Every goal, every goal, except a few, just a few. And not saying that it can't happen, but it just hasn't happened within that time frame of having worked in the industry. I reached every goal I set out for, except a few, which is win an Oscar, which was direct, a certain type of movie, which I'm not going to get into right now. We'll save that for another time. And it's not porn, so shut up. It was a certain type of drama I wrote a long time ago. Actually, Dan, I would love to run it by you. I see you're on there, but I want to talk to you. But because it has to do with a teacher, and I want to tweak some things. If I ever go back to it, I want to tweak some things, and you would be a great person to talk to. That's why I bring it up. So, but I reached all these goals, and then I got to a certain point. I saw a lot of things when I lived out in Los Angeles and working in the industry and working for studios and stuff like that. I didn't love it. It wasn't great, and I couldn't be a part of it. And so, I started working more independently, but it jaded me. And I wanted to do something different. And then I got out of it. And one thing I did start to really take to was like more digital side and marketing side of things, the digital marketing and stuff, because that was becoming really big. When I started college, I started film school, I should say, which was when I actually went to a full college and got a degree, which was later. I went to Full Sail. 2006, I went. I was like 24, 25. It was one of those things that kind of brought me back around and pulled me back into it. And, I started producing, started doing all that stuff. And I really enjoyed the social media aspect. I really had fun with that. And I was still on MySpace, they made us join Facebook. They were like, join Facebook. Everybody in college is on there. You're making movies. You can like pitch your stuff on there and stuff like that. So that's how I got on Facebook. And they taught us how to do those things. So like I really got into aspects. So when I left the industry, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a story for another day, but like I kind of spiraled. I went downhill really bad. And it was dark times for old Mickey Manhattan here. And but those are stories for another day. My point being though is I started seeing that bright light and I have to thank a friend from high school who got into filmmaking as well. My friend Mario Malillo, and he started a website called MarioLikesMovies.com, and it's no longer open. I wish it was though. He was so good at it, and he started doing video work and stuff like that. he was one of the early ones too, who had like a midnight movie thing, like all this stuff we're doing now. This is like 15 years ago, and he was doing it. And I'm not saying that there weren't a lot of people doing it, but like a lot of the stuff we're seeing now that everyone's doing, he was doing it, and not a lot of people were. And I came back and he was like, dude, I could use your help. You have so much know-how in all this. He's like, I could really use your help. Could you come on and work for me? And I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. I need this. I need to just do something that isn't that. And we did. And we became a huge site. We became a really good site. And not because of me. And I'm not saying that. Like, we just jived. We were doing well. And we were having fun. We were doing skets, and he was talented. He's a really talented guy. He was a creative, talented guy. I just had the skills. And then a few other guys who had talent, and his wife at the time had, she helped a lot and stuff. So well, she helped immensely, to say the least. But we did all of this. And then I wound up leaving there, moved to Virginia and stuff like that, and then got in with Casey and Billy and did Mystery Elephant. But this is what I fell in love with. This is why I kept going with it and everything. But when I started the Scene Snobs podcast, I know shit about any of this setup or anything. I would go to Billy's house for the Mystery Elephant. I would sit down in a chair at the mic. He would handle everything, and I would talk. That's it. That was the extent of my capabilities. Now I do everything. I do it all. I had to learn it. So that's when I talk about with the talent versus the skill. I don't have the talent, but I had the skill. I had to learn all this stuff, and kind of push myself along the way. Hope that made sense. Sturdy says, you entertain me and open my mind, which I love and is definitely a huge value in my life. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And I was very fortunate. I'm very fortunate every day with so many of you and in my life, and saying such kind things, but and especially like Carolina Fear Fest, right? And I say that because I got to meet so many people or see you again in person. And it was so awesome. Dan was there. I got to finally meet him in person and stuff. Like, that was amazing. But like a few people who don't talk during the shows or don't interact, but do listen or watch, came up and said, I really appreciate your show. I love it. Your voice soothes me. It helps me through things. And it was just I was touched by it. Like, and I had never met them before. I'd never heard from them, didn't know them. And they introduced themselves, talked to me, and it meant a lot. And I love that. And I really, truly appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you for that. You inspire me to create better content, more content, be consistent, and to continue to help others when it pertains to content creation. Yeah, I mean, if your content should always entertain, but it should always also benefit. And I'm not saying that's the benefit, like you have to send the message along. Like, I'm talking benefit in a way where it's like nobody should walk away angry unless angry is the intent or hurt is the intent. And what I mean by that is, when you watch something and somebody's whole drive is to get you motivated, and they know that you have to get motivated by getting you angry. If you walk away angry, but you are motivated, that's what I mean. That's when it should be that way. So I hope you guys understand what I meant by that. Yes. Well, first of all, take the moderately out. I love the fact that it's on the title, because I love hilariously long titles like you. But Dan, bring that show back, man. I love that show. It's so much fun sharing these films with our kids. You were very entertaining. Thanks, brother. George G3, so damn true. Yep. George, you're on the radio. That's so awesome, dude. Yeah, man. They were having so much fun with it too. And I liked when you guys were in studio. That was fun. Super dope. You have a radio show. See? Go check them out. I see Dan's comments coming up. I was an introvert as well. Glad I've learned to be more out there. Yeah, and it's nice, and do it at your pace. Always do it at your pace. I wish I got in a drama club back in school. Something I think about here and there. And it's funny because I hear this a lot. I hear this more from adults than anything else is when they were kids, especially teenagers. I wish I did this when I was a teenager. And it's always something that makes sense that they would have probably been made fun of for. And I think about it, and I think about those times. And that's why I brought up my friendship earlier. And that's why I'm so unapologetic about who I am. Now, was there shame? Was there guilt? Was I like an unapologetic geek? No, I wouldn't say unapologetic as a kid, but I was a geek. I got beat up. I got picked on and torn up, but I had my friends, especially Lenny. Like, he was the same way. Lenny was unapologetic. Lenny didn't care. You could be like, you're going to play D&D, and like that dude would be like, yeah, I fucking am. And what are you going to do about it? And like, and he would say to the biggest dude on the planet, who he knew could kick his ass, but he didn't care. He'd stare you down and tell you, I love doing this, and you're not going to stop me. And that's what I loved about him. He was unapologetic, and he taught me that. And love what you love, as long as it's not hurting anybody. That's the key. As long as it's not hurting anybody, and if it can benefit people and benefit yourself, go for it. And it was always it was just wonderful. It was just a wonderful time, and it was always a good thing to learn. But yeah, I hear people say that all the time. See, there we go, another one. So my point being, that's if you have kids, and that's what I'm trying to do with mine, remember that. Remember what Sturdy just said. Remember what Jason just said. Remember what I'm just saying. They're going to become teenagers at one point. In fact, like Tommy's 11 and he's already feeling it. He's already feeling like, I don't know if I should like that. I don't know if I should do it. Yeah, you should. And if somebody you call a friend is making fun of you for that, and it's your thing, it's the thing that you love, they're not your friend. And I'm telling you, challenge that friendship. Challenge it now. Say to them, like, I love this. And if you're my friend, you'd be cool with it. You'd be at least cool with me loving it. You wouldn't pick on me for it. And I guarantee you, if he or she or who or whatever is your friend, they'll come around and I'll be like, all right, you know what? If you love it, it's fun. Sometimes if they're a good friend, they'll say, let me check it out too. I always tried to say that to Lenny. I've never got invited to Dungeons and Dragons. I've never been able to play it. Now I do. And thank you, Todd Stashwick, for that, for telling me I might as well just become a dungeon master after 30 years. Because Lenny played every Friday night for years. And I was like, why can't I ever come? He's like, because I don't want you to make fun of it. And I was like, I don't want to make fun. I want to play. And he's just like, no, I don't want you to make fun of it. He's like, this is my time. He's like, I love doing this. This is what I want to do. I was like, but I want to play. He's like, no. He's like, you're not allowed to play. I don't want you to make fun of it. I was like, but I do. He just never believed that I would come around. And I wanted to play. So, and now Dan, of course, that's with me saying that it was porn. Just admit it. I will tell you this. Pay attention to porn, the porn sites. Okay? Because I guarantee you, during these trying times of strikes, which you should support filmmakers during these strikes, because they're the ones who are really suffering right now. Not the big stars. I'm talking about the ones who are striking, really trying to make this work. Not just the writers and the Directors Guild and such, and Producers Guild, things like that. My point being, I'll bet you over the course of the next few months, porn is going to look a hell of a lot better, because guess where everybody goes to get paid? In the beautiful San Fernando Valley. Yeah, that happened last time in 2008. I remember I was there. I didn't work on it, but I know a lot of people who did, and I don't shame them for it. Gotta get a paycheck. Gotta pay the bills. Hey, what's up, Fred? How you doing, bud? Thanks for joining in, man. It's a long time no see. Dan, CFF was a great time. Dude, I was so glad to see you there, man. Hopefully you'll be back, but you're the man. You were just awesome. And I'm sorry I got sick, because I just wanted to hang out. So I'm not eating a goddamn thing but like protein bars and fucking like I'm only eating the healthiest of healthy stuff next year because I just want to be like in good condition and hang out with everybody. You inspire me to be 6'6" and identify as so. I'm 6'8", sir. CFF 2024. I'll be there. Ah, I love it, Sturdy. I love that. Hang out. I'll do my research on the porn. Call it research. Is that what we're calling it now? Oh, man, I gotta tell you, it's something. It really is. It's just something. It's funny because I came in here and I'm like, how am I gonna come back into this? Where do I go from here? What's the morning show? What do we talk about? What's the value? That's the question I've been asking myself a lot lately. What is the value? What value do I bring? Because it is like you get because now it's coming down to it's almost like the doomsday clock of this, and you start thinking about like, okay, what's the longevity? There's no industry for this. I mean, there is, but there's no, like, it's not a set industry. It's just all over the goddamn place. There's no money making field of this other than like just try and do what you can, and it's almost like cutthroat. Like, you gotta be better than the next guy, and I don't want to do it that way. And I've always told myself like I'm gonna do it my way, but I'm trying. But then I watch so many people succeeding and doing it in the patterns, and I'm like, but like I don't want to be the guy. I don't know. I don't know what my value is, you know? I think that's the hardest thing you can ask yourself in life is like, what is my value? And I don't think it has to be a depressing thing. I'm not depressed, not upset. But you have to ask yourself often, like, what's my value? What's my value as a father? What's my value as a husband? What's my value to my friends? What's my value to as a in my business? What's my value in life? You know? And I think you should ask those questions when you're not depressed. I think you should ask those questions when you're not. I think that's the best time to ask those questions. I think when you're feeling that way, when you're depressed, and I've been there, it's sad. I had a couple of friends of mine, they just lost somebody. And I'm not going to give out any names or anything. I don't want to call anybody out, but they just lost one of them, and they're all part of the Snob Nation. That's why I don't want to give anything out. You guys know them, and I want to talk about it a little bit and maybe build an awareness with everything happening, and send my condolences to them and to their families and such, and everything they're going through. They had a friend who committed suicide, and I just learned about it this week. It was only a few days ago. And it's heartbreaking. And with Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm not rolling my eyes at that. I'm just it's breaks your heart. It really does. And I know I'm going through tough times myself right now. And you think about those things. Now I'm not going through tough times. I'm not, I've been there. I've been there. And I've told that story. We've talked about it openly. I've talked about it openly. And I will never, never commit suicide. It will not happen. I will never get that low again. Because I was there. And I don't know, reborn from it. I don't know what it was, but since then I do understand. And I hope that anybody who hears this and may feel it or know it or have those feelings, because man, it's not like they go away. Those feelings do come back. Like, and I was trying to talk to a friend of mine about it the other day. I was like, you gotta understand, when people nobody wants to commit suicide. Nobody wants to commit suicide. People feel they need to do it. I remember I felt I needed to. I felt doing that, I was bettering other people's lives. I was bettering the world when I was planning. And it was more than planning. And again, that whole story has been told a few times. in different ways. I don't want to dwell on it for that fact, because I have a different point to make here. But my point with this is nobody wants to. Your brain is at a point, your everything is saying, I should be gone. It's better for everybody for me not to be here. And it's never true. We all know this. Rationally thinking, we all know this. Even the people feeling it when they have their rational mind know this. It's just those moments. And it's crazy. People call them the weakest moments. I don't think that's the weakest moments. Takes a lot of strength. Takes a lot of strength. And when somebody does kill themselves and somebody calls them cowards or somebody calls them weak or it just bothers me. Hurts. I hate to see that. I don't know a proper word for it. I'm not going to try and define it, but I don't know that I would call it weak. Hurt, maybe. Something. I don't know, but it's not weak. It's not cowardly. It's, and I hear this story and it resonates with me because I've lost so many to suicide. I've almost lost all of this because I almost committed suicide, and I don't mean to bring the show down. So if I am, I'm sorry, but I want to I want to drive this point home, and it does connect to everything that I've been talking about. And, because members of this community that I've been working to build, and this, we call it, of course, we call it the Snob Nation, but, members of this community are affected, and I see it, and I'm seeing it, and I'm seeing it through posts, and I'm talking to them, and it hurts. It hurts to see people suffering like that, and then know that they lost somebody, and to know that somebody they lost just was lost because they're not here anymore. It's sad. It's, you just want to, I didn't know him, but I knew who he knew, and that's the thing. Like, when somebody passes away but all their friends, and you see how sad their friends are, and you're just like, this was something, like, you're just like, wow, if you care this much, and I know you, if you care this much, this must have been a hell of a person. This must have been a hell of a person. I wish I could have known him. Wish I could have said something. Wish I could have stopped this. And, I saw that, and I saw it with, a few of my friends, and talking to them, and please, I hope you guys don't think I'm trying to make this about me in any way, shape, or form. It is not. It's sad to see your friends suffering. And, I'm want to bring it up because if anybody else is, I hope just come. Anybody. If you're suffering, always do yourself a favor, and everybody else. It's for everyone, and yourself especially. If you're ever thinking about it, if you're ever saying to yourself, this world would be better. Everyone I know would be better if I was gone. And that comes up. Those thoughts are there. It's almost universal when it comes to suicide. I beg you to just, if you can, think about it from this perspective. Or not think about it from this perspective, but at least hold on to this one thought. Call one person. One person you care about. You don't have to tell them. I urge you to. I do. I think the best thing you can do is tell anyone. But I also know in that moment, it's hard to. I also know how scary it is. I also know there's a million things racing through your mind. Are they going to hang up on me? Are they going to call me a coward? Are they going to yell at me? Are they going to do that? So come at it from a different point. Call up one person you care about. You care about. Because if you try to think about the people who care about you in those moments, you're going to come up empty every time. Because in your mind, it's not you don't think anybody cares about you. You think that you're draining people constantly. So you don't believe that they have the ability to care in you. But that's never true. So to me, if you're ever feeling that way or you're ever feeling that down, and fuck, I'm telling you right now, you can always reach out to me. Always. And people have, and people do. And AJ, if you're watching, looking at you, I love you, buddy. And I love you, and you're worth it. And I want you to know that. I'm not calling you out, and I'm not saying that you're feeling this way, but I know you've been feeling down lately. You're Snob Nation through and through. And I love you. And I just want I want to point that out. So, my point being, just reach out to somebody first. Don't write the note first. Don't plan it out first. Just reach out. And it doesn't even have to be about it. You can ask them anything, or her, or whoever. Just ask. Just say, do I bring any value to you? Or do I do? And just listen to the answer. And if the answer is positive, which it's going to be, and I promise you it's going to be, the answer is positive. And I'm talking about like positive in a way where I know, and I've told this story. I've told the Lenny story. He saved my life from this by giving me a gift of a rope and a how to make a noose kit because he knew I was suffering. And that turned me around. All I needed was somebody to see that I was hurting. And he showed me he did. So, friends, if you have people suffering, show them you see them. Just give them kind words. Listen to them. Doesn't cost anything to listen to them. Pick up the phone if they call you. Answer the text if they call you. Because you never know. Yeah, and it's I feel bad for my friends right now. It's sad. I wish I had met the man. I wish I had met the man that passed away. I wish I knew him because every story I'm hearing, he sounds like a great guy. And knowing his friends, I know he was. Because the company you keep is a good judge of who you are. And that's good company. So with men's mental health awareness, I just wanted to say that I wanted to put that in. And also the tears aren't coming because I am like in pain or suffering or hurting or things like that. Tears are coming because I'm feeling it, because I understand and I've been in these places before. I've unfortunately seen a lot of death in my life. More than I wish I had. And it's sad to see somebody take their own. And when I see that and I know how much it affects people, even when I read it in a newspaper, it's just like, man, I wish I could have just said something. I don't know the person, but I wish I could have just said something. Wish I could have just been a bystander passing by saying, like your hair today. You have great shoes on. You have a really nice smile. You never know. You never know. Try and do those things, those little acts of kindness. Random acts of kindness. I love it. I always try to do that while I'm out. If I'm going through the drive-thru, I go into a store, or I'm walking around, like I see somebody's wearing something, like, hey, love that, or this is awesome, blah, blah, blah. It may seem absurd to some people, may seem stupid, may seem too outgoing. But more often than not, I get a lot of smiles like, oh, thank you. You noticed. And it means something. Add value. Make the world better. That's it. That's what we're doing. I don't want to influence. What am I going to influence? You know, if I'm influencing anything, hopefully it's just that we should be adding value in the world. Make it better, you know? That's what I'd love. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying, because I'm talking too much. Even though I'm the only one on camera. Right. Mental health is so damn important. It really is. It really is. Fred says, it isn't bringing the show down, it's bringing the important issues to light. Men, especially men, need to know it's okay to not be okay. It's true. It's very true. These conversations are important. Don't be sorry for that. I'm not sorry for it. I'm not. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm like, yeah. It's early in the morning. I want you guys to have a great day, and I want you to take that with you and go into a great Friday night, party it up. Don't be sorry for that ever. Right now, someone is listening, and you're helping them in one way or another. Hopefully, Snobnation is the best company. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. The tears are passion for a resolve. Yeah. Yeah. If it can help one person, right? I, I love doing this. And when I started doing this, when I started doing this Mary Likes Movies, I was looking for a way back, because this was after my suicide attempt. And I was out of the film industry. I was in a very bad place. Again, story for another day. But I was looking for a way back. And that was a window for me to have some joy and a way back to do something that I love. And then when and it continued on, like when I did Mystery Elephant with Casey and Billy, we did that for 6 years. I can't believe we did that for 6 years. And it was joyful, and I loved doing it when it was taken away, against no fault of my own. And that hurt. So I said, I'm going to do this on my own. But we didn't like, we were entertaining and we had fun and it was hanging out with your friends. But I remember it was often like, I want to share this with the world. I want to do something. I want to bring value out there. I want to do stuff. That's why while I was doing that, I was also doing the Scene Snobs. And big reason I was doing, like, when I was writing my reviews, I remember a lot of places I would write reviews for, I'd start putting spins on my reviews as I was writing, with my own like little flavor to it, like I'm doing now. Like, let's talk about things. Let's have the theme out there and like really get into it. And not shy away from anything. And they didn't like that. They wanted the reviews and that was it. And so I started writing them for myself. So that's why I started the Scene Snobs. So I would watch the movies, I'd write them, but I'd also correlate it with something. Maybe going on in my life, going on in a friend's life, something happening in the world, whatever. And I did that for years, and that was therapeutic and helped because I wasn't doing that on my podcast. I wasn't doing that anywhere else, in my writing for anybody else. And then when I started the Scene Snobs podcast, I was like, no, I want to talk about movies. I want to talk about TV. I want to talk about geeky stuff. I want to talk about that stuff. But I also want to be free. I want to be open to talk about the things that are important to me. And I want to add value. And it took years. I mean, we're going on year 4 in October, or actually, it will be our 4th year anniversary. Then we'll be going on to 5. But I think I'm finally starting to find a value. I'm starting to discover where my value is, and hopefully I find it. Like what I add to the world. And this was a instance where it was like I never wanted to shy away from it or anything. I always wanted to be positive. I always wanted, that I find too much. Like I watch too many things. Sorry, I got stuck a little bit. I watch too many things in life, or listen or whatever else, and it becomes hurtful. It becomes hateful. It becomes controversial. Like people, for some reason, think that you know being attacking or being mean or whatever it is. Well, it does in a weird way. Something, because a lot of those people have more viewers than I do, but it gets you views. But like, I don't want those views. I don't want that audience. I don't want. I don't even want an audience. I want a community. It's so weird. I know it sounds weird, but like, I like connecting. I don't want to feel like I'm here and all of you are here just listening. I want to feel like we're here. And maybe you guys are listening to me. Maybe in this community if I'm comparing it to anything, it's like the movie Do the Right Thing, which I fucking love that movie so much. But I'm the Samuel L. Jackson of that movie. I'm the DJ. I'm kind of narrating the community. And then I have other community members that are hanging around and they're doing different things. And they're like, I got my guys hanging over here talking about the horror universe and all the different geek aspects and things I love. But the mental health, the things like that. Like we have such a community of great people who love different things. I'd rather be a part of that. I don't know. And I know it sounds crazy because it was funny. Somebody brought up to me because I was like, I love that word. I love the word community, and I'm a Cold War kid. So when I say that, somebody, I think maybe it might have been my wife, but it might have been somebody else. They're like, so communism. And I was like, and I start laughing because I'm like, no, Cold War kid, screw them. And, but no, not in that sense. I don't know. I don't know. I just know I want positivity. And there's been so much negativity and there's been so much craziness and there's been so many hardships. And these last 4 years, especially, have been incredibly draining and hard and hard to hold on. It's just, it's tough for everyone, and but it's easier when you got a community, and it always has been. And what it feels like with everybody. I grew up in Jersey City, and it's a city. And if you've ever been to a city or been ingratiated or in some way in a city in that community, everyone knows everyone. You're all on top of each other. You're all like just there. Like you all just know who's who. You're in each other's business, but like you're also helping each other out when you need it. It just is. And even if that community drives you crazy sometimes, you're still happy you're in it, you know? And that's what this is. That's what I want. Not that it drives me crazy. I love being in it. I think everybody's great. And yeah, like sometimes we have members come in and they drive me crazy and I drive them crazy. And this person drives them crazy or we drive that person crazy. But then we come around and it's always fun. It's how it should be. It shouldn't be, I'm talking, you buy my shit. Let's have a good time. That's the way it's going to be. Signing off. Talk to you later. No. Now, granted, I wish I had the time to be able to talk more. Not like this, but actually like be out there and talk more. And I'm trying to do that more now. And figure that out. And I think it's working. I think I'm finding the formula for my time to figure this all out, because I'm also in my frontier, not frontier, front here. I'm trying to be a better father. I'm trying to be more present. I want to be a better husband. Um, or I at least want to be a better person for all of these people. And I need to work on this, in my life. So like, that takes time too. And that I can't always dedicate everything to the scene snobs. So I've had to figure out the balance, just like everybody does with everything. So, and I think that's important too. And I know as I'm talking about these things, hopefully you guys understand. Like, well, I know you guys understand. You guys are all much smarter than I am, but you guys understand where I'm coming from. Where it's like, I love what's being built here, and like, it just feels different for me. It feels like different from the formula of success that I see. But man, I'm trying to trying to believe that, like, this will work. This is different. That talking about these things, that being positive, that being there for your friends, that that being friends matters. That looking at all of you who step in, like James is here, and we're talking about movies, and James may have gone. He may still be here. We were talking about The Flash, and I don't really talk to him much other than about movies. But like, it's a relationship built on that, and that's fine, and that's great, and that's what I want. And that's what he has for the community. That's awesome. But I want him to be a part of it for that reason. He doesn't have to stick around for this stuff, but the people who want to can. And if he ever wants to come around, and I don't mean to call him out on it, and you should check out James MCD reviews. He does some really fun reviews, and he does some cool stuff. And follow him on Instagram. I do, and he has some great posts. My point here is, like, everyone's different. I want to build those, like, it's not bullshit when I say the strongest ship in the fleet is friendship. It's not. I don't say that because it's funny. It is funny. I say that because I mean it. It is the strongest ship. I truly believe that. The things that I talk about, I believe in. And it took a long time for me to get there, to believe in this stuff, to put my faith in this stuff. I don't put my faith in religion. I put my faith in people. I put my faith in that we all ultimately want to do the right thing. Even people that may not agree with us and seem like they're on a different path, or they're I just truly believe that everybody wants to do good things. Like, there are evil people, don't get me wrong. And I do believe that there are people who want to do bad. I'm talking ultimately, in the long run, I have hope and I have belief that there is more good in the world than there is bad. And sometimes people are misguided. And sometimes people are in different places in their lives. And sometimes people do things, act irrationally, or do bad things out of hurt. I can't beat evil by being evil. You're not gonna stop a kid from being evil by yelling at him. You're gonna stop a kid from being evil by hugging him, by telling him it's gonna be okay, got your back, here for you. And the same goes all the way up, so no matter what age. So build the community, a community that's willing to do that for everyone. And this is an experiment. It's what it is. It's wholeheartedly an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's working. I know that there's some great people that are a part of it. And I know that I'm doing a morning show where I'm talking basically about myself and my philosophy and what I'm doing. And I don't know if that's a good thing, and I don't know if it's a bad thing. I know I have tons of movie pages up and things like that I was ready for to talk about, but I got into this because, again, sometimes life throws you a curve, and I went with it. and I roll with it. And because I want to be genuine, I script every week. I script out what I want to talk about on the Scenes Snobs podcast. And I wrote down talking points for this, knowing I was going to come back. Hell, I wrote down talking points for this a month ago, and then it adapted and rolled with it. I just works or it doesn't work, but I believe in it, so I'm going to work with it. And the reason I believe in it is because I've seen a lot of bad, and it hurts, and it sucks, and man, and I'm not just talking about watching TV, and I'm talking about real life horrors that, and I know many of you have too. We're all human. We've all seen it. So, and that is one thing I think everyone needs to start getting out of their heads. We need to stop comparing hurt. Well, I've been hurt more. Hurt is hurt. I don't care if, all right, let me rephrase that, because I don't care should never be how you start this. You may have been molested in some way. You may have been assaulted in some way. You may have stubbed your damn toe. Hurt is hurt. You're hurt. At different times, be there, because we all understand hurt. Doesn't matter. They don't have to be hurt. Somebody doesn't have to be hurt on the same level you were for you to show compassion, for you to show empathy. Because if you show that, even if it's a small amount of hurt that somebody went through as a child all the way up, then when that person, even if they've never been hurt before, in a really lasting, damaging way, they have now seen compassion or empathy when they've been hurt. And hopefully, when they see somebody who's been damaged or hurt, will take that empathy and compassion forward and show it to them. That's the key. Stop comparing hurt. Hurt happens. I've been hurt. You've been hurt. Everyone's been hurt. Really has. And everything comes to fruition. We don't know everyone's hurt. We don't have to know everyone's hurt. We just need to know that someone was hurt, and we need to understand it. We need to be okay with it. And sometimes you just need to shut up. You need to put your hand on somebody and say, talk to me. What do you need? I'm here to listen. I'm here to talk, whatever you want. You want a goddamn egg McMuffin to make you feel better? I will do it. Is it so hard? Is there so much? And it's a fucking movie podcast. I'm sorry, it just popped in my head. I had to say it. My point being, is it so hard to just do the right thing? To just say, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, and there's a reason I'm saying I'm gonna get to this point in a second, because it's a big thank you coming to many of you. Is it so hard to say, I'm sorry for your pain, even if you don't think their pain is that much, because you've been through way worse. Maybe you've been to war. Maybe you've seen, friends die in front of you, in a vicious way in a war, or in some other fashion or something, or family or something like that. It doesn't, and maybe it's just a breakup. But, one thing I read one time, about teenagers is never downplay like a breakup or a rejection to a teenager, because to you as a 30, 40, 50-year-old, and they say, Jesus, that's your first in 100. There are plenty of fish in the sea, and whatever rhetoric we can give. But to them, That is their entire world. Remember, my son was running around a tree trying to go back in time because he saw the flash. Because in his world, his scope of the world, that's possible. In his scope of the world, he doesn't know that he can't. He doesn't know how it works. He doesn't know where it goes. And at 6, I don't have to tell him. He doesn't need to know right now. He doesn't need to know that's the way it works. Or when he watched Batman Returns and she's cutting up her stuffed animals, and he sees and he thinks about his stuffed animals, and he's crying because he's like, this is my world. These are the things I sleep with and I care about and I talk to on my own. His friends, when he's in bed, like many kids do, or hold on to as a safety or security. That's their world. When teenagers are there, their world becomes a little more open, just a little bit more, not as much as yours, or mine or anybody else's. So when they go through a breakup, or they go through heartache, or in some way, shape, or form, or some sort of pain, or they're getting pressured to do drugs or drink or this, and they're not sure what to do, or they're scared or this, and we're telling them like it's no big deal, or it's this, or it's that, or don't do this, or we're yelling at them or whatever, you're shattering a world. You're tearing them down. You're tearing their world apart. You're telling them that everything they feel, which is their brain, their heart, their gut, everything is telling them like they should be hurt right now. And you're telling them it's no big deal. What if your wife or your husband died and I walked up to you and I said, it's no big deal. You get over it. It'll be fine. Your world is shattering. Do you think you'd feel good about that? Do you think I would make you feel good? No, that would devastate you, and I'd be an asshole for doing it. We far too often do that to kids. And I'm talking about even I'm 41. People my age do it to 20, and people in their 20s. Well, you don't know. We should be encouraging all the way up. The older we get, people younger, we should be encouraging. And the reason I say this is, I'm going through some tough times myself right now. I'm in no way, shape, or form in a place where I feel people need to worry or anything, but I am hurting. And I always feel alone. I always feel alone. And it's to nobody's fault. But my life, I always was. I've been a victim of a lot of things. Very fortunately, well, actually, I can't even say that. So I'm not going to. I'll leave that alone for now because I can't really talk about it. But I've been victim of a lot of things. And especially young. And I always had dealt with it alone. I always felt alone. I always felt by myself. I always felt diminished. I always felt even now, I've been feeling very alone. Even when I have people in front of me, I feel alone. And since Lenny died, I feel very alone because he was the only guy I knew that for years, for some reason, the guy always just knew to call me when I was having problems, even if I never talked to him, I wasn't telling him I was having problems. He just knew. And I just never, but I was you retreat, you get defensive, and you just go into your shell and stuff. And I was feeling very alone. So I posted something on Facebook, and man, the outpour of truly wonderful people who were supportive and caring. And I don't have it in me right now to talk about things. I need to process. And that is my process. I will not talk about things out of anger. I will not talk about things that have hurt because I don't want to hurt. I don't want to say things that shine light on anybody else in a negative way when they don't deserve that because I'm hurt right now. So I don't talk about it. And I probably shouldn't post anything, but I am hurt. And I needed to know that I wasn't alone, even though I was feeling very alone. And pitter patter little feet, summertime. So I did that. And I had this outpouring of wonderful people reach out to me and be there for me and such. And anybody watching or listening, I want you to know I have seen it and I appreciate it. And I haven't reached out to you yet. I will. And I will get to everyone. Um, it's been a week. I have been refocusing. I'm focusing on a lot of things, and I need to focus on those things right now. And then I will get to everything else soon. But I will get to everything else. But that's what I mean. That's the community I want. That is what makes this, the believing part, so easy. That maybe this experiment's working. Is because the community's there. And it's not just there for me. I see everybody talking to each other. I see everybody there for each other. It's wonderful. I appreciate all of you. And we're coming to the end of the show, but I want to go over your comments real quick and see how everybody's doing. Let's see. Sturdy says that there Mick is why we here and there. That there Mick is why here and there. Okay. Sorry. I just read that wrong in my head. I'll get a $10 gift card at a coffee shop or gas station. Leave it with the cashiers and tell them to let this pay for the next few coffees. That's really sweet of you, buddy. It's like random acts of kindness. Sounds simple, but free coffee can change someday. It really does. Even if like you're in a drive-through line at Dunkin' Donuts or something, pay for the person behind you. Sweet. It's third tier for me. Excellent, but not perfect. Oh, Daniel. I just wore that shirt the other day. Thank you. James. James, what's up, buddy? I had this on while I've been working. I'm pissed I don't know who you were before TTFT. You're such a force of positive energy, and we need more creators. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I always appreciate you coming by, man. I really like your content, man. You're a lot of fun with this, and you going out and your take on things is really fun too. Sometimes it be that way. You are correct. Well, guys, all right. One thing I have been talking about and doing more is what can we do? It's summertime. People are getting out more. We're doing things, and I'm not good at ending the show. Casey was great at it. He always had like great like endings for things. Like I always tell people like, hey, go check this out. I would still like you to go check out thescenesnobs.com. And just let me know what you think about the designs, please. Sound off. Again, we have the Patreon. If you want to go check that out, thank you so much for that. And we always appreciate all of our Patreon members. Thank you so much for all your support. You guys are all amazing, and it really does mean a lot to me that people believe in me and this and what's going on, and they want to see me succeed. So thank you for buying the merch. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon, and thank you for just being there. Thank you. It means the world to me. I'm gonna stop there. Thank you. All right. It's Friday. There's a lot to do. I can't tell you because we're all over the place where to go, what to do. But I want you guys to get out this weekend, guys and gals. Get out this weekend, guys, gals, or however you identify. I want to respect that. Get out and let's do something fun. I want you to support your local library. Maybe go rent a movie from them. Go video store it up. If somebody else is renting a movie, go talk to them. Have some fun. Go pick out a book to read for whether it be for this month or the summer or something. I love to read, but I never have a chance to read a lot, because I'm always going. I have picked out a book. I know it's going to take me the summer to read because the amount of times I have to do it, it's going to take the summer. I'm going to read Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's book version that he wrote. I've had it for a while and I've been wanting to read it. So I officially said I'm going to sit on my porch certain times of the day, mental health breaks, read the book, and just kind of regenerate. I would love to hear what you guys are going to read. I would love for it maybe like a book club sort of thing. If you guys do decide, pick out a book, go read it, check it out. Let me know what you think. But get out this weekend, even if it's raining or something. Go see something. Go to a museum. Go take in some culture. This is how I want to start ending the shows. This is how I'm going to start doing things. I'm going to start picking out things randomly that you can do that are very not generic, but that are uniform to everywhere, like you were able to do. But right now, I'm going to stick with why don't you go support your local library? And if you have kids, take them because they should have a library card and they should go check it out too. All right, everybody, I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs. As you guys know, you've been listening to me for a while, but if you're checking us out for the first time, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope it brought some value. Please come in and check out the Scene Snobs podcast every Tuesday night. It's live at 7 p.m., or you can watch or listen to it anytime after that on any podcast platform here or YouTube. We have a good time doing it. We're having a lot of fun. Next week, my friend Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, is joining us. We're going to be talking some horror. We're going to be talking some other things. We're going to have a new movie for Did I Fix? We're going to have a new Snobs movie Summer School, and a few other things going on. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. We have a, oh yeah, let me pull it up because I made a graphic for it. So we're going to be doing our Flash review on Monday at 7 p.m. It's going to be a great time. Hopefully you guys can be there and we'll do that. So yeah, guys, thank you again for joining me. Thank you for being part of the Snob Nation. You guys can join up. Make sure to join the Discord. All the links for everything is down below. If you can't find it, go to the link tree. It's definitely on there. The Discord's a lot of fun. You don't have to be on Patreon. You don't have to just join up. Originally, it was like, hey, join Patreon. You can be on the Discord. But I want everybody just to be a part of it. So go join that. If you don't know how to work Discord, we also now have a Facebook group. We did have a Facebook group, but it sucked. Nobody was doing anything on it. I'm trying to change that. I do need moderators. So if you're interested, hit me up. But we do have it. It's the Snob Nation Facebook group. If you want to be a part of it, it's a private group. Message me on the Scene Snobs, and I will definitely make sure to send you an invite. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I love you. You're all amazing. And go enjoy the weekend. Stop listening to me. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.